Can you imagine the absolute audacity of watching your division rival casually walk away with the one player who could single-handedly transform their entire defensive identity? That's exactly the nightmare scenario brewing in Denver right now, as whispers grow louder about John Franklin Meyers potentially becoming the crown jewel of Atlanta's defensive revolution. The football gods have a twisted sense of humor, don't they? Just when the Denver Broncos finally discovered a legitimate pass-rushing threat who could anchor their defensive line for years to come, the harsh realities of NFL economics threaten to rip him away. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons, those perpetual underachievers in the pass rush department, are circling like vultures, ready to swoop in and claim the very player who could complete their defensive transformation. This isn't just another free agency rumor or idle trade speculation. This is a strategic masterstroke in the making, a chess move so perfectly calculated that it might just represent the moment Atlanta finally solves their decades-long pass rush puzzle while simultaneously watching Denver shoot themselves in the foot. John Franklin Meyers has become the embodiment of everything wrong with NFL contract timing. Here's a player who just delivered a career-defining 2024 season, 40 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 7 sacks, numbers that scream building block rather than expendable asset. Yet, Denver finds themselves in the unenviable position of potentially losing him due to financial constraints that feel more like organizational incompetence. Standing at 6 feet 4 inches and weighing 289 pounds, Franklin Meyers represents the perfect blend of size, power, and technique that defensive coordinators dream about. He's not just another body rotating through the defensive line, he's a legitimate difference maker who can collapse pockets, stuff running lanes, and create the kind of consistent pressure that elevates entire defensive units. The Broncos signed him to a 2-year, $15 million deal that now looks like highway robbery in their favor. But here's where the story takes a frustrating turn for Denver fans. Franklin Meyers has been conspicuously absent from OTAs this offseason, sending a clear message that he believes his breakout performance has earned him a significant pay raise. Spotrac estimates his market value at approximately $17.5 million annually, a figure that reflects both his production and the premium team's place on proven pass rushers. For a player turning 29 in September, this represents his final opportunity to secure a life-changing contract, and he's making it clear that he won't settle for anything less than market value. While Denver agonizes over financial decisions, Atlanta sees an opportunity that feels almost too good to be true. The Falcons have spent years throwing draft capital and free agent dollars at their pass rush problem, only to watch opposing quarterbacks stand comfortably in clean pockets, dissecting their secondary with surgical precision. This offseason, they doubled down on their commitment by investing heavily in rookie edge rushers Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. These aren't just draft picks. They're speed demons with the explosive athleticism needed to bend around tackles and create backfield chaos. The vision is compelling. Unleash these young talents off the edge, while Franklin Meyers provides the powerful interior presence that collapses pockets from within. The strategic fit is almost too perfect to ignore. Walker and Pierce Jr. represent the speed element of modern pass rushing, but they need a complementary power rusher who can win with strength and technique rather than pure athleticism. Franklin Meyers fills that role perfectly, providing the veteran leadership and consistent production that young players need to reach their potential. Bleacher Report's Alex Ballentine has already identified this exact scenario, suggesting that Atlanta should target Franklin Meyers as the missing piece of their defensive puzzle. It's not about replacing their rookies, it's about creating the kind of balanced, multi-dimensional pass rush that keeps offensive coordinators awake at night. Franklin Meyers' 2024 breakout wasn't a fluke. It was the culmination of steady improvement and increased opportunity. His 7 sacks might not lead the league, but they represent consistent pressure that translated into game-changing moments. More importantly, his 8 tackles for loss demonstrate his ability to disrupt running games and create negative plays that stall offensive drives. What makes these numbers even more impressive is the context in which they were achieved. Denver's defense wasn't exactly a dominant unit, Yet Franklin Meyers managed to create individual success within a struggling system. Imagine what he could accomplish within Atlanta's improved defensive structure, surrounded by young talent and coached by a staff committed to maximizing pass rush potential. The versatility factor cannot be overstated. Franklin Meyers can line up anywhere along the defensive front, creating matchup problems and allowing defensive coordinators to disguise their intentions. He can rush from the edge, kick inside to defensive tackle, or drop into coverage when necessary. This flexibility would provide Atlanta with the kind of strategic options that transform good defenses into elite units. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report has already identified Franklin Meyers as a prime trade candidate, citing the harsh financial realities facing Denver's front office. The Broncos are attempting to balance immediate competitiveness with long-term financial flexibility, and a 29-year-old pass rusher demanding top-tier money doesn't fit their timeline. This creates a fascinating dynamic where Denver might be forced to trade away a proven contributor simply because they can't afford to keep him. It's the kind of organizational mismanagement that championship teams avoid, but it creates opportunities for smarter franchises willing to capitalize on others' mistakes. The timing couldn't be worse for Denver or better for Atlanta. Franklin Meyers is entering his prime years as a pass rusher, with the experience needed to make immediate impact and the physical tools to remain effective for several more seasons. He's exactly the type of player who can transform a defense from promising to elite. If Atlanta successfully acquires Franklin Meyers, the implications extend far beyond adding another pass rusher to their rotation. His presence would accelerate the development of Walker and Pierce Jr. by providing veteran leadership and taking pressure off young players to produce immediately. The psychological impact on opposing offenses would be significant as well. Instead of game planning for speed rushers who might take time to develop, teams would suddenly face a proven veteran who can create immediate pressure while young talents learn from his example. For Denver, losing Franklin Meyers would represent more than just a roster move. It would signal a fundamental shift in organizational priorities. Trading away a player in his prime while attempting to compete sends mixed messages about the franchise's commitment to winning now versus building for the future. Atlanta's aggressive pursuit of Franklin Meyers reflects their belief that their championship window is opening now, not in some distant future. With significant investments in both sides of the ball and a roster that appears ready to compete, they can't afford to wait for potential to materialize. Franklin Meyers represents the kind of proven commodity that championship teams acquire when they're ready to make serious playoff runs. He's not a development project or a gamble. He's a player who has already demonstrated his ability to produce at the NFL level and is entering his most productive years. The contrast with Denver's approach couldn't be starker. While the Broncos seem content to let financial considerations drive their roster decisions, Atlanta appears willing to invest in the proven talent needed to compete immediately. This philosophical difference might determine which franchise achieves their goals over the next few seasons. Championship windows don't remain open indefinitely, and Atlanta seems to understand the urgency required to capitalize on their current opportunity. The John Franklin Meyers situation perfectly encapsulates the fine line between organizational success and failure in the NFL. Denver's potential loss could become Atlanta's transformative gain, completing a defensive puzzle that has frustrated Falcons fans for far too long. What's your take on this brewing situation? Should Atlanta go all in for Franklin Meyers, or are there better ways to address their pass rush needs? And how do you think Denver fans will react if they watch their most consistent pass rusher suit up in Atlanta Red next season? Share your predictions in the comments and hit that like button if you think this potential move could be the game changer Atlanta needs.